Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. This week's a little bit different. I'm not at the farm. I'm back up in Holmes County, Ohio, the largest Amish settlement in the nation. I had such a good time here in May that I wanted to come back. October is the fall colors and the festivals and everything that are going on in the area. They're having a big draft horse auction up here. Just a lot of activities going on, and I wanted to come back up here and see it all. I'm staying in a hotel that was built in 1847 that's supposedly haunted. So I'm going to make a video on that, and I'm going to make a video on an Amish buggy, and I'm going to make a video on the draft horse show. So got a bunch of neat videos coming up in the next few weeks, so stay tuned for those. But I had the pleasure today of spending the entire day with an Amish gentleman. I met him. I never meet a stranger. And we got to talking, and he had black Percherons, and I told him that I had black Percherons, and we just got to talking. And he told me that him and his wife were going to be going on vacation to Colorado in a week and a half, and they were going to be gone for 9 days. And he was telling me about all the things that he had to do before he left. So I asked him, I said, would it help you out if I carried you around in my truck and we ran the errands? And he said it would help him out immensely. So he gave me his address, and I went over there this morning and I picked him up. And I'm going to tell you that the Amish people are the absolutely nicest people that I have ever met. I know they're not without their problems. They've got their same things that we have. You know, they've got crime and robbery and drugs and alcoholism and the same issues as everybody else. And I don't think that they're as prevalent in their world as they are in ours. But I was hanging out at the horse show last night, the sale barn, and I met this guy. We got to talking, and he wasn't the only Amish guy I talked to or talked to me. There was 4 of them actually, but in any event, this guy was just super nice, and I went and picked him up this morning. I had no idea what we were doing, and he wanted to take a plow to the store to have it repaired. So I told him not a problem, and he asked me if I could drive over to the barn and and pick this thing up. And I didn't know what it was. And we got over there, and it was a single horse bottom plow. The old, you hold the 2 handles, the 2 ash handles, and, it's just got a single bottom plow, and it's pulled by, a single horse or a single mule. And it needed work, and he wanted to take it and turn it in. And it absolutely blew my mind that this guy's using this old plow, So we loaded it up, and he wanted to take some blades over to the same store to get those blades sharpened that went to some sort of a mower. And I think we as Englishmen, as we're called, we have a stereotype that they're different than us and that we can't talk to them because we don't understand them. They're different. And because of that, we don't talk to them. And it couldn't be further from the truth. They love to talk to us. They welcome us with open arms. I had said it in May that we see everybody in our world, we see everybody as a threat. If somebody were to pull up in your yard, you want to know why they're in your yard. You're yelling at your wife to get your gun, or you're reaching reaching in your back pocket for your gun or whatever, telling your kids to get inside. And they don't see anybody as a threat. I mean, it's amazing. It really is. And it's very inviting. It's very warm. It's just a really nice feeling to be welcome where you go and to not be seen as a threat. But you'll be driving around in your vehicle, and in our world, we don't have time to wave. We're trying to get from point A to point B. We're trying to get to work. We're trying to get to the grocery store. We're trying to get to Walmart. We're trying to get home to fix dinner for the kids. We're trying to do homework, trying to give them baths, trying to get in bed ourselves so we can get up and go to work the next morning. And we don't have time to wait. And most time everybody just, they'll just drive right down the road and not pay any attention to anybody. But not here. I mean, everybody waves. Even if they're Amish and you're non-Amish, they're waving to you before you wave to them. It's just really nice. It's a pleasant change. We went to that shop to turn that plow in and get that blade sharpened. We went to a harness shop. We went to the CPA. We went to a fabric store. We went to a general store twice. I ended up taking his wife back later. I don't remember where all we went, but I think I got over to his house at about 9:15 this morning, and I think I left at like 5:50. So all day long we were riding around, running errands, taking care of issues for him. The thing that struck me is he has 4 cows, and he wanted a collar for one of his cows, like we would put on a cat or a dog. He wanted a collar to go on this cow. It was an Amish harness shop, and he asked the guy if he had a collar for a cow. I didn't even know they made them. And he said, no, we got them for calves, but I don't have any for cows. And he stopped what he was doing and made a 54-inch collar for his cow. And when we left, well, he gave him $10 for it. No tax, no, just $10. Took him about 30 minutes to make it. And we left. And we went somewhere else, and I'm drawing a complete blank. I think it was a dog kennel store, and they welded something up for him. And when we left, I was just blown away that the customer service was like instantaneous. And I made a comment to him that wouldn't happen in our world. Our world, it'd be like, come back in 2 weeks. I got 47 people ahead of you. But he said in our world, there's not in their world, there's so much competition because so many people do the same things. And he said, and if you don't make it for them right when they walk in the door or take care of them right when they walk in the door, we know as Amishmen that we'll just leave and go down to the next farm where we can get it made. So we're just in the business of customer service. And in our world, the English world, we don't know what customer service is anymore. We really don't, and it's really sad. But their prices are so fair. He paid him $10 for that cow collar that he made on the spot. I went into a harness shop on Monday when I got up here. Today is Wednesday. Brought 2 collars with me from Georgia. They're too big to go on my horses, and my horses are never going to grow into them. And I needed smaller collars so that I can get to training them. I cannot train them without having a collar that will somewhat fit them. And so I brought these collars up, and I went into this harness shop, and I talked to the owner. And I asked him if he had some collars, and he said, yeah, he did. So we got them out of this, they were up, hanging up, and he pulled them down and let me look at them. And I told him I had 2 collars out in the truck. And he asked me to go get them and bring them in. And when I went out and got them and brought them in, he looked at them and he said, well, these aren't our collars. We don't sell them. I don't even know what brand this is. We don't sell them. I said, well, I never said that they were yours, Joe. He said, well, you can sell them here in the store if you want. You're going to be here for the week, so if you want, you can sell them. Put whatever price you want on them and just give me $10 for them. I was like, $10? And he said, but if you want, I'll give you $200 for them. I'll give you $100 each for them. And then you can get those collars right there. So I was like, well, I'll just do that. And I asked him what he was going to do with them. He said, well, I'll sell them as used. I said, but you don't sell used equipment in here. And he said, yeah, but somebody will come in and want them, and I'll know that I've got them in the back, and I'll sell them for $115. I'll make $15 on each one of them. He's going to make $15. I mean, in our world, if I were to take those collars into an English harness shop, that guy would look at me and say, I don't want those things, get out of here, you know? But they're just so fair in everything that they do. The guy told me, he said, well, the reason, he said, I will agree with you that we're a lot more fair than you guys are, because I said, well, we're always trying to make a buck, you know? It doesn't matter that somebody wants to buy something and then they want to sell it for tenfold, and they just want to rape the pants off of you, you know? And he said, well, we have a conscience, and, you know, we base everything on the Bible, and we have conviction. So it's just the way they approach life. They're getting ready for church. They do not have churches here. That just blew me away when I found out they didn't have churches. They do church at somebody's house every other Sunday in their community. So this Sunday, it's at his house. So they were getting their house ready, and I asked him, I said, how many people will be here? And he said about 120, and they'll be here all day. And he said, we're responsible for the meal. And he said, it'll be a light meal. It'll be sandwiches and chips and that type of stuff. He said, church is 3 hours. It's from 9 to 12. And then we eat lunch, and then we stay in fellowship for the rest of the afternoon. And then you leave at the end of the afternoon. So he said, it's an all-day deal. And there's a list of women that have to bring desserts, and that list rotates. So the women, there'll be 3 or 4 women that'll bring desserts. And then those 3 or 4 women are responsible for washing all the dishes in that home, and, you know, and putting them all back up and everything. So it rotates as your name comes up on the list. So it's just pretty neat. I just like the way that they approach life and how they do everything. It's just very attractive. No cell phones, no computers. Everything's handwritten notes. It's just really neat. We got back at 12 o'clock. He took me in his house and we ate lunch. His wife made lasagna. It was the cheesiest lasagna I've ever had in my life. It had just strings of cheese just coming off of it. It was just strings just hanging down off your face. And then we had homemade applesauce, which was made with banana apples. I'd never heard of banana apples. And we had corn. And then we had some pumpkin tartlet for dessert. And we had water in like a steel goblet, so that stayed really cold. And then he took me over to his hunting property. He has 36 acres, and he has cattle, and 2 of his Percherons were over there, and he wanted to vaccinate them. They're pregnant. All of his mares are pregnant, and he wanted to vaccinate them so that they didn't have a miscarriage. He said he vaccinated them every 3, 6, and 9 months. And so we went over and vaccinated him, and then he wanted to show me all of his property, and we walked the entire property line. And he showed me where they were going to build a cabin and everything, showed me where his deer stand was, and he just took me in and treated me like I was his own. We parked at his niece's house to get onto his hunting property, and when we did, her 4-year-old son came out with his brand new pony. He put a halter on it, put a lead rope on it, and he's bringing it out to show us. 4 years old. He was so proud of it. And he went up to the post on the front porch of the house, and he wrapped the lead rope around it and tied a knot in it. Blew my mind, this little 4-year-old kid gonna put a halter and a lead rope on a pony and then lead him over to the porch and tie a real knot. 4-year-olds in our world never even heard the word knot, much less know what a knot is. It was a real knot. But I was just highly impressed, and I felt like it was an honor to be able to spend the entire day with him and let him share some of his culture with me and take me into some Amish stores. And not that we're not allowed to go into the Amish stores, but it's a little bit different when you go in there with an Amish person. I guess because you're not intimidated to be in a store and you don't really know if you're supposed to be in there or not or what. But if you ever get the opportunity to see the Amish or talk with the Amish or anything, take the opportunity, because they are not standoffish or anything. They open everybody with open arms. I could totally live up here. And he laughed and he said, until it gets winter, then you don't want to be up here. And I can believe it, because it is so hilly up here. I don't know how they get around. I don't know how the horses get around. I don't know how the cars get around, anything. But when you're up here, there's sections that are, pretty much exclusively Amish, and then there's sections that are pretty much exclusively English. And when you go in those areas, it's McDonald's and Walmart and Burger King and that type of stuff, Tractor Supply, all the franchise businesses. But when you go over into the Amish areas, it's all Amish businesses, and there is nothing franchised. It's really neat. It's really neat. So I'm looking forward to showing you the Amish buggy and the hotel, the sale barn. Stay tuned and look forward to watching those with me. We'll see you soon.